Have you ever wondered how you would explain a cancer diagnosis to a child? Imagine a world where we don't have to shy away from such tough conversations, a world where we can equip our children with understanding and resilience. This is a topic that's not often discussed, yet it's incredibly important. It's about acknowledging the elephant in the room, a cancer diagnosis, and understanding how to navigate the conversation with our young ones. We're going to delve into the importance of an early conversation, selecting the perfect time and place for the discussion, using language that is age-appropriate, and most importantly, how to have this crucial conversation. It's about honesty, empathy, and making sure our children feel safe and supported. So grab a cup of tea, take a deep breath, and remember, you're not alone in this. Join us as we explore how to talk to kids about a cancer diagnosis. The early days of a diagnosis can be a whirlwind, but it's important to include children in the conversation. Why is this so vital? Well, let's start with the fact that children are incredibly perceptive. They're likely already noticing changes at home, more phone calls, more appointments, more hushed conversations. They're witnessing the uncertainty and the worry etched on your face, even if you try to mask it. And they're wondering why things feel so different. When we don't give children the information they need, they start to fill in the blanks themselves, often with ideas far scarier than reality. They have the right to know what's happening just as much as any other family member. Now, some may argue that it's better to shield children from the harsh truth of a cancer diagnosis, but consider this: children are resilient. They can handle more than we often give them credit for, and the truth, no matter how hard, is always better than uncertainty. It provides a solid foundation upon which they can start to process and understand what's happening. Let's also not forget that children are part of the family unit. When one person in that unit is impacted, everyone feels it. By including them in the conversation, you're acknowledging their role and their importance. You're showing them that they're valued and respected. But above all, it boils down to trust. When children find out about a parent's illness from someone else, a well-meaning friend, an overheard conversation, an accidental glimpse at a medical report, it can shatter their sense of security. It can make them question what else they're not being told. By talking to them early, you're reinforcing that trust. You're telling them, we're in this together, we'll face it together, and no matter what, we'll always be honest with each other. So, yes, the early days of a diagnosis can be a whirlwind, but amidst the chaos, make time for that conversation. It might be one of the most important talks you'll ever have with your child. Remember, the worst thing that can happen is that a child finds out about the illness from someone else. Choosing the right time and place to have this conversation is crucial. The environment in which you decide to unravel this significant news plays a pivotal role in how it is received. Imagine trying to ingest such life-altering information in a chaotic or uncomfortable setting. Difficult, isn't it? Therefore, it's essential to pick a familiar, comfortable space where your child feels safe. Picture your family's favorite room at home, where shared laughter, heartfelt conversations, and joyful memories echo. It could be the living room, the kitchen, or maybe even your child's bedroom. A warm and familiar location can provide a sense of security during this daunting conversation. And it's a setting where your child can openly express their feelings without feeling restricted. Now let's talk about timing. Timing is everything. It's not just about what you say, but when you say it. You don't want to rush this conversation in between school runs or before a soccer practice. Instead, consider a moment when there's ample time for discussion and reflection. For instance, a Friday afternoon after school can be an ideal time. The weekend follows, providing your child with a couple of days to process the news, ask questions, and express their feelings. Keep in mind, it's not about finding the perfect time or place, because let's be honest, there is no perfect moment for such a conversation. It's about creating a supportive environment where your child can absorb, react, and respond without feeling rushed or overwhelmed. The intention is to foster an open dialogue, a two-way street, where your child feels heard and understood. They should feel free to ask questions, express their fears, and share their feelings. And remember, it's okay if they need time to process the information. It's important that they know they can always come back to you with their questions or concerns when they're ready. Think carefully about when and where you'll have this conversation to ensure your child feels safe and comfortable. After all, it's not just about breaking the news, but also about providing a nurturing space for your child to understand and cope with it. The language we use when talking about a cancer diagnosis is key. It's essential to call a spade, or in this case, to call cancer, cancer. The words we choose can shape a child's understanding and perception of the situation. Using vague or sugar-coated language can lead to confusion and even more fear. When a family member is diagnosed with cancer, it's natural to want to protect our little ones from the harsh reality, but kids are incredibly perceptive. They pick up on changes in the atmosphere, in our behavior, our mood swings. Keeping them in the dark can often lead to more anxiety as their imagination fills in the blanks. So how do we talk about it? Start with the basics. Use the actual term cancer. If chemotherapy or surgery is part of the treatment, say so. It's better they hear these words from you in a loving and supportive environment, rather than overhearing them or stumbling upon them online. Speaking of the internet, it's a vast sea of information, but not all of it is accurate or helpful. Encourage your children to come to you with any questions or concerns they may have after researching the topic. Reassure them that no question is too silly or irrelevant. This will not only provide them with accurate information, but also open up a channel for open, honest communication. Remember, it's okay to admit that you don't have all the answers. It's okay to say that you're scared too. This honesty shows your children that it's normal to feel a range of emotions, and it's always better to express them. In conclusion, when talking about a cancer diagnosis, clarity is key. Use accurate terms, encourage questions, and maintain an open dialogue. This approach will help your children understand the situation better, alleviate their fears, and make them feel supported and included. Remember, clear and honest communication is the best policy. Now, let's discuss how to have the conversation itself. Starting this conversation might seem like a daunting task, but remember, honesty is key. Begin by telling your children that you have some news to share. It's not an easy topic, and it's okay for them to feel however they do about it. It's critical to keep an open line of communication and let them know what's going on. You could say something like, "You may have noticed that things have been a bit different around the house recently. I've been absent more than usual, attending appointments and spending more time on the phone. I wanted to explain to you why that is." This is the point where you share the diagnosis using clear language they can understand. Then it's time to explain what comes next. Share information about the treatment plan, whether it involves surgery, chemotherapy, or another form of therapy. Remember to use the actual terms for these treatments, as children are more likely to hear these terms elsewhere, and it's important they understand them. Next, discuss how this diagnosis will affect their daily lives. This could mean changes in who takes them to school or periods of time when you might be away from home for treatment. While there might be changes, reassure them that their lives will remain as normal as possible. Their activities, routines, and schedules will continue. After laying everything out, it's vital to give your child some space to react. This is a lot of information to process, and they might need time to understand and come to terms with it. Encourage them to ask any questions they might have, and reassure them that it's okay to not have any questions right away. Make sure they know they can come back to you at any time with questions or concerns they might have later on. Always reassure them that they can come back with any extra questions they may have in the future. Talking to kids about a cancer diagnosis isn't easy, but it's necessary. We've explored the importance of early communication, ensuring children are informed and aware, rather than discovering unsettling news from another source. We've considered the significance of choosing the right time and place for such a conversation, providing a sense of comfort and allowing for genuine reactions. We've emphasized the necessity of using appropriate language, being clear and truthful, using the actual words of the diagnosis, and encouraging children to ask questions and express their worries. And finally, we've discussed how to have the conversation, focusing on honesty, clarity, and reassurance, while also addressing how the diagnosis will impact their daily lives. Remember, your child's understanding and emotional well-being are paramount. Do what you can to reassure them, and don't hesitate to seek professional advice if needed.